Hello, guys. It is 2024. It's election year. I want to dabble into politics a little bit. It's something that I don't really like getting into a whole lot on this channel, but I've talked about it a little bit. So, figured I'd just talk about it, give my thoughts on, the political climate here in the United States. Good old US of A. Um, so, obviously, it's an election year we have in November. It's going to be the incumbent Democrat versus, this, um, well, this kind of, it's kind of a mismatch of candidates because you had the Republicans who were putting their people out for the debates. You had some front runners that were DeSantis and Nikki Haley, which they're both kind of like still the front runners. And here's the strange thing, though: Trump hasn't really been in any debates yet because of the whole legal situation with, I guess, taxes, tax evasion, or something about financial um, financial crimes, I guess, which is like, yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing why he hasn't been at debates, because they're going after him for like tax fraud and tax evasion and things like that. So you have some GOP frontrunners, which are Nikki Haley. I think she was the former UN ambassador under Trump. You have Chris Christie, New Jersey governor. He just dropped out today. You have this business guy who made I believe, like a pharmaceutical or biotech company, Vivek Ramaswamy, and I have no idea if I'm saying that guy's name right. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Um, I think everybody else has dropped out. And then you have the other. Well, the Democrats aren't holding primaries because they've already chosen. Like, the DNC has already decided that they don't want anybody else to run against Biden, because they're pretty concrete. They're set that he is their guy that they want, so they're not holding any primaries. But here's the strange thing that I think is pretty interesting. Um, you have Robert Kennedy Jr., so that is the son of, obviously Robert Kennedy, and he's the nephew of John F. Kennedy, the famous John F. Kennedy, who was obviously, assassinated in like 1969. And they've actually declassified like a ton of stuff surrounding his assassination. And a lot of people like to say that you're a crazy conspiracy theorist if you believe that the Kennedy assassination was an inside job. And there's just like a ton of things that are really strange about that case, which it's all over the internet. Some true, some false. A lot of conspiracy theories are out there, but then there are a lot of strange things that happened with that whole situation. So yeah, he's the nephew of, John F. Kennedy. I'm not gonna get into the whole conspiracy theories about whether it was an inside job or if it truly was like just like a straight up political assassination. But the interesting thing about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is that he had to run as an independent because the mainstream media, they basically kind of like labeled him as, like racist. They said he was anti-Semitic. They said he was anti-vaccine. Basically, like, they kind of just labeled him as like everything they labeled anyone who's like a conservative or like a Republican. So he wouldn't have any fair chance really among Democrat voters, because the Democrat voters are watching MSNBC, ABC, CNN, NBC, all these networks, all the alphabet networks. So you know he's kind of tainted already in their eyes because they've already made him out to be, this crazy bad person who is, I think they consider him like right wing even on some news networks. So he had to run as independent because, not only are the Democrats not holding a primary, but he's very moderate. He doesn't align a lot with the current Democratic Party, with a lot of their values and the tenets that they're kind of trying to push forward. So he had to run independent. And I think that's going to be the more interesting thing. Personally, I'd have to look more into RFK, but I'm kind of leaning towards him simply because of like his environmental policy. So he worked as an environmental lawyer and he litigated like tons of cases. So I mean, like environmentally, like yeah, I mean it's like a no-brainer. Um, it's definitely somebody I would vote for because of the environmental record. I'd have to look into like his other policies, like immigration, gun control, um, police. Like, does he support the police? Because that's one thing that a lot of the Democrats don't support is the police. They wanted to. They say reimagine policing, which what when they say reimagine policing, what that really means is they want to defund the police, meaning they want to take funding away from the police and replace them with like community policing, um, which let's see, what did they? I think they may have done that in some cities like San Francisco, maybe some places in Chicago, and of course it doesn't work. It doesn't deter or reduce crime at all. They wanted to do social workers, so they wanted to have social workers show up to domestic violence disputes, which you know it's not really feasible to do that in case somebody's drunk and there's a dispute going on. I mean, a social worker should be there in addition to a cop, but not simply just a social worker. So, I don't think he's one of those Democrats who would want to abolish prisons and reimagine the police. There's been like a lot of talk about just abolishing prisons completely and doing away with cops. And it's just like insane to think that the Democratic Party would actually kind of advocate for some of that stuff. So he had to run as independent because he's not really far left enough to be seen even as a Democrat now. Now he's considered like, they consider him like a Republican or like a right winger, which he's really not. If you look at his policy on immigration and the environment, he's not right wing at all. He's fairly left wing, but he hasn't gone extreme to the other end where a lot of the progressives are. So I would vote Robert Kennedy. Um, Potentially, I'd have to see more of his policies. Um, I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden and Trump. I don't know if I'd vote. I don't know if I would vote for Trump in 2024. Um, there's just like so much going on with Trump right now, like legally. I don't know if he could be focused enough to run the United States when he's got all these pending litigation um, going on. So yeah, that is my take on kind of like the climate right now. I know there's already a ton of stories that have come out for the candidates from each party. But yeah, just want to like give my thoughts on the current situation with Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know anytime you give your opinion on politics, people are going to hate you, and then some people are going to like love you. Well, not hate or love you, but hate your opinion or love your opinion. But in cases, sometimes people do hate you, like actually hate you for your opinion. simply because they just don't agree with it. But anyway, those are my opinions. Let me know what you guys think, and in the future, I may dabble into politics a little bit more, even though it's not one of my favorite things to talk about. I usually like to stick to like entertainment and things like that. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you next time.